interested in the AMA. Yes. Yes. Going live soon, Abraham, as soon as I change the settings.
I'm looking forward to it.
Changing the public. And there we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good following morning. It is AMA number 71. Today is October 7th, year of our Lord 2021. I am here with my co-host, the long-suffering but cheerful Rabbi Avi Baumel. How are you today, Rabbi Baumel?
I am wonderful. It is Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan, Mar Cheshvan, 5,782 years since the creation of the world, baby.
That's right. That's right. Isn't that what I said? Year of our Lord? Is that not?
You go with thing? Year of our Lord. I'm going with straight back to creation.
Gotcha. Thank you. We have very, very special guest today, our own Ryan Kaplan.
Woo!
Director of Ride for the Living.
Yeah, looking forward to that
conversation. Ryan and talk about the ride. Did I say Ryan Kaplan? I meant bad boy Ryan Kaplan.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It's his new nickname.
I did not know that.
What's new with you, Rabbi Avi?
I am in the Holy Land, in the land of Ephraim.
Kalimnos, the Holy Land.
No, actually, it is the land of the chosen people. And things are good. The weather's
Forest
good.
Hills, New York.
Quiet, thank God. What?
You said land of the chosen people. I said Forest Hills, New York.
The Judean hills. The store where the stories of the Bible took place. So I'm
Tarsus, many of them.
I am hanging out here. All is well. Kids are good. Getting ready to come back to Krakow Tuesday. So back to work.
Tuesday night. We have greetings from the three horsemen of the apocalypse: Saul Schachter, Jeffrey Rolat, and then Saul. And I thought Benji, but not Benji.
Wow.
Who's calling me? I hope it's you calling me, Avi.
Impossible.
Oh, somebody else calling me. That's interesting.
That's awkward.
That is awkward. Well,
how was Greece, Jonathan?
Greece. Good of you to ask, Rabbi Avi. Greece was great. I have to say, Avi. I was thinking about it, and I used to be obsessed with Italy. And then I realized that a lot of the obsession with Italy, nothing against Italy, I love Italy, had to do with the food. Pizza and ice cream, of course, staples of my diet, as we know. But then I realized that you start to get good. It used to be that you had to really go to Italy or a few places in the world to get good pizza and ice cream. But now you can get good pizza and ice cream in a lot of places. Obviously, I don't mean kosher, but in the regular non-kosher world. So I realized that made Italy a little like suddenly, okay, I love Italy and it's beautiful and fun, but But Greece, I have to say, Greece is really an amazing. It has everything you're looking for in a place, right? History, amazing architecture, beauty, the design is great, people are really nice, good weather, it's not so expensive. Greece really has everything. You have 200 islands you can go to. It's really everything. And Athens is my new favorite capital city in Europe. I love it.
I am going there in a few months or in 6 months, so I will see how that is. I have not been to Greece yet, but I'm excited about it. Yeah, no, I've never made it out there. But Hadley has. They've gone on cruises there because from Israel it's pretty cheap. You're able to go for 4 days, and we're actually doing that in the summer. That's what I'm talking about because it's my father-in-law's 80th birthday in there.
Will you go see any of Greece, or will you just be on a cruise ship?
We'll be on a cruise ship, and then we'll spend the day in Athens and spend the day in Cyprus. I don't know where exactly. We'll be walking around and then going back to the ship and then eating as much as possible. Remember, it's a kosher cruise. You do this whole vacation and eat all your non-kosher, shrimp and bobby and
shrimp and bobby. One, I've never eaten in my entire life. I've never eaten shrimp. And I don't know what bobby is.
Throwing shrimps on the bobby.
Ah, shrimps on the Barbie, like barbecue. I see.
Your version of vacation is where you can eat next. We look at culture. We look at history. We look at nature. And you're like, where do I get the next ice cream? That's not what vacation's about.
So as I understand it, the difference between my vacation and your vacation is that I would do all of the above things and then eat eat the local cuisine, and you would do all of those things and then eat like a plastic wrapped meal from El Al or something, or rice cakes and a tin of tuna fish that you schlepped along with you. I see, Avi. You're right. You're right. Because what does local food have to do with the culture? Nothing. Good point.
I am just trying to make myself feel a little better. There's one kosher restaurant in Florence. There's one kosher restaurant in Venice.
And I'm sure that one kosher restaurant in Florence is absolutely the best place one could eat in Florence. And people who don't eat kosher are lining up out the door, I'm sure.
All right, you live your carefree existence, and I'll go with God. That's fine. We have our.
I would say the carefree existence is probably the person who lives by rules that others have set and doesn't have to decide for themselves. That to me is carefree and somewhat childlike. Whereas deciding on your own values and morals every day as you wake up and seeing what the world, how you can be a part of that world, I think
because you are the arbiter of all morality. You are the king of ethics in the world, and you've studied all, and you've experienced it all, and you are the one who can determine that. You should be crowning yourself as leader of the world in morality and ethics and philosophy, or maybe have a little humility.
The world could do worse.
Fair enough.
You might not notice this, but my chair, you'll notice, isn't green.
Ooh.
I have got myself a new, very ergonomically correct special office chair.
Wow.
Yeah, a very good chair for all my back problems. It's very adjustable. I might even show my chair for a moment.
I love it. I love it. When are you going away that I'll be able to check it out?
We have a new policy, which is that you're not allowed in my chair anymore.
The rabbi's not allowed in the chair.
Allowed in his own chair.
Okay. Very nice.
Al kiso lo yeshev zar.
Whoa!
You like when I drop all that stuff on you?
Pasuk bomb. That's amazing.
Let me say, I brought back from Greece lots of food and snacks for everybody. And most of the things I ate in Greece, I think, are kosher, Avi. Olives, kosher. Pistachios.
Need a hechsher.
All right. What do you mean? Pistachios, you need a hechsher?
I don't know what kind of mishigas you're putting in your pistachios.
Oh, somebody might have been sprinkling the bacon on those pistachios again. Oh, my God, Avi. You got to get with the planet. Anyway. You know about my hobby of legally obtaining signs all over the world.
And legally obtaining.
Hey, I don't know what you're doing with your fingers over there, my friend. Legally obtaining signs all over the world. And I have legally obtained these two signs from Greece. Isn't that exciting? Yes.
What does it say?
They're the names of streets. Catena Street and Pericleus Street, like Pericles. The hero of the early Athenian democracy, Pericles.
Interesting. Okay, where are you gonna put all these signs, Jonathan?
I need more. I need Lebensraum. I need a place to put my signs. I will tell you also something about Greece is that I love pistachios. I am a nut fan, and I think the greatest pistachios in the world come from the island of Aegina, an hour away from Athens. So Kasha and I went to visit this island, also known as Pistachio Island.
To find the holy pistachio ground.
Yes, and I have everything there, pistachio, everything, butter and pistachio pesto and pistachios, and we brought back, and you walk down the street and they're just giving you all these pistachios to try. It was amazing. The pistachios, I think, are the best pistachios in the world.
Well, I will have to check for myself once I confirm that they have been blessed by a rabbi and that they are of holy nature.
Well, I think it's a pistachio and salt.
Ooh.
I'm not sure there was any rabbi on Egina who did that, but I don't know. When you have a bottle of, explain to me, when you drink a bottle of water in Italy, are you not sure? How do you know that that water hasn't been defiled from a Jewish point? Why is water? What's the difference between water and pistachios?
You know that some rabbis did come out strongly against water because of that concern, because the amount of extra stuff that was in it that the government said that's fine might not apply to water, but the great rabbis said no, you can drink water. Maybe they would say the same thing about pistachios. I don't know. I would have to check it and see. Are they cooking these pistachios? Are they roasting them?
They are roasting the pistachios.
Is it a dedicated roaster, or are they doing other things whilst they roast the pistachios? I mean, these are questions that we have to talk about.
Or the original intent of kashrut has gotten so perverted over the years that it's even ridiculous to talk about these things. And it's an arms race of trying to be the most kosher and the most just, and it has almost zero to do with thou shalt not seethe thy kid in his mother's milk and all the rest of it, and cloven hoofs and bottom feeders and the rest of it have nothing to do with. It's a job for a rabbi to look at those pistachios, and it's the rabbis that are making the rules. And wait a minute, it's the rabbis that are also getting paid to be the ones to check on everything. So
how quick we are to become so cynical. I must be. Look at all the money I'm pulling in, all my my dark rabbi kashrut.
You're part of the system. You're part of the system.
I'm part of the system. I'm part of the system.
You're part of
if only we could eradicate the rabbis and Jonathan could be the one who determines, what's kosher and what's not. That would be a good plan. Come on, man. There's thousands of years. Thousands of years of tradition, and you
yourself off camera have said that the way things used to be, which is you went to a restaurant, so you ordered a salad and that was fine and nobody made such a big deal and everything glatt this and glatt that. You yourself off camera have said
that's hearsay.
I am just saying that. I'm not
saying quote me off camera.
I'm not throwing the laws of kashrut out the window. I'm just saying that they've gotten a little bit, in my opinion, off track. That's what I'm saying.
In all truth, Jonathan, I do agree with you on some level. I do think that they have gotten off track.
I'm sorry, wait, we cut out for a second. Can you repeat that last bit?
I still think you're wrong. However, there might be some exceptions, like when they have like aluminum paper that has a hechsher, or certain things that are so ridiculous, garbage bags with a hechsher and glatt kosher plastic cups. I think that people might be abusing the system some of the time. Yeah. And I think that in Poland and in Europe, the kashrut system is a little different than the ones that are going on in Israel and in the United States. So, there's lists, and they're a little more latitude, a little,
In other words, you could have, what I'm saying is that if somebody decided, let's say an organization comes out and they say, you know what, one person isn't watching this, two people are watching it. Then everybody who's eating meat that was watched by, or a plant that was visited by one person is suddenly not as kosher as the plant that was visited at the two times of the two rabbis. Then in 5 years from now, they have the three rabbi system. The whole thing just gets a little silly, doesn't it? There's an idea that it's supposed to be, there's a logic and a reason and faith and things that come from a good place of kashrut. And I just think it's gotten crazy.
I hear you, and at the same time, there should be some acknowledgement that if you want someone in a restaurant to be able to be serving kosher food, someone's got to go in there and make sure that things are running like they're supposed to, and you're checking ingredients. I mean, we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay,
fair enough. I mean, I just also have trouble with the self-policing system that benefits from itself. In other words, it's not, rabbis have, the people who are making the rules have an interest in keeping those rules going as opposed to seeking the truth. No?
You have a cynical attitude towards rabbis and towards religion, and therefore
No.
you'll see that
No.
through
No.
that lens.
No, I don't.
Why would I assume that?
do not.
If you believe that I'm an honest guy and I care about the ice cream in Krakow being kosher, not so that I can put money in my pocket. So can't you imagine that there are a whole bunch of tough people like me?
Because I've been living on this planet for a few years, and I don't think that most people are like you.
That's the nicest compliment you've ever said.
Very much so. Let's bring on another exceedingly nice person. Our guest today,
I love this guy.
bad boy Ryan Kaplan. Everyone loves Ryan. Ryan's been here a few years. Ryan is a native Atlanta, Georgia. He studied marketing. He was very involved with Federation and with Birthright. He staffed 5 Birthright Israel trips. He was working in Atlanta Federation for a while, and then came here as a JDC fellow, and has been here and been a big part of our family ever since. So welcome, Ryan Kaplan.
Thank you. Very glad to be here. After watching for so long, it's fun to finally be a featured guest. Very happy to be here.
Ryan is coming to us from the nether regions of the next door conference room.
The adjacent conference room.
The adjacent conference room. So thank you. Good to have you, Ryan. We want to talk a little bit about how you got here and then about the ride, if that's all right.
Sure.
And if you have anything you'd like to throw in there about the absurdity of modern kashrut,
or the respect that you have for religion to the exclusion of some others, and you feel free to weigh in.
Oh, Ryan,
this was not on the cheat sheet. I have no prepared responses.
Your strong fan base here is disappointed that we didn't invite Ryan Gosling. I wanted some work to get done, Ryan. I knew if Ryan Gosling was here, all bets would be off. My assistant would do even less assisting me than she does. So we have to keep Ryan Gosling out of the building.
Ryan, I checked your bio. Are you a Kohen?
I think according to like Polish standards, Kaplan has some sort of relationship to Kohanim. But to be honest, I'm not the right person to answer that. I haven't done enough research myself. Maybe you can tell me. Well, or Jonathan can tell me.
It's an easy way to do it. You go to your great grandfather's grave and you look at the stone, and usually there are hands on the stone.
I believe my great grandfather is buried in Greenville, South Carolina. We actually visited his grave over the summer, but I don't think that there are hands on the grave.
No hands.
Okay. No hands, unfortunately.
Ryan Kaplan, tell us about your upbringing a little bit. How Jewishly involved were you? What was it like growing up in the Kaplan household? Were you going to synagogue, going to Hebrew school? What was kosher, not kosher? What was your religious? How much suffering because of religion did you?
How inspiring was it to grow up as a Jew in Atlanta?
Oh man, I feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place here. No, it was a very fascinating upbringing. I think looking back on it, both my parents are from the South, although my mom was born in California, but she grew up in Mississippi, in a Jewish family in a small town called Greenville, Mississippi. My dad grew up in Greenville, South Carolina, so they have that in common. My dad studied at Georgia Tech, and my mom was at the University of Georgia, and they were set up on a date night, on a fraternity or a sorority date night.
Rambling wreck. Your father, a rambling wreck.
He was, but yeah, and then he transferred to Clemson. So I think his degree is actually from Clemson, but he spent more time at Georgia Tech. So he self-identifies as a Yellow Jacket. But yeah, so we did not keep kosher. My dad doesn't eat pork, but I did grow up eating pork a little bit. It's like the Southern kashrut laws. We come from a Reform background. I was very involved Jewishly growing up. I was the president of our youth group. I did go to Hebrew school. I went to Sunday school. I was bar mitzvahed on top of Masada in Israel on a congregational trip, which was really cool. Kind of jump-started my love for the Holy Land, which we can talk about the birthright thing a little bit later. But yeah, I certainly came back to it.
Wow.
top of Masada, and I hiked. I took the long way up right before too. A lot of people took the tram, and I hiked actually that morning at sunrise. So it was a sweaty bar mitzvah.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I was very Jewishly involved, president of the youth group at my synagogue, Temple Sinai, shout out in Atlanta. And then kind of fell out a little bit in college. I wasn't really involved in Hillel. I went to Georgia State and was not very Jewishly affiliated. I think I maybe went to like, a bagel brunch or something, maybe once a semester, but I consider that really the bare minimum. And then when I was graduating, there was a really great opportunity at the Federation there to help run their Birthright Israel Atlanta program, which was just getting started from actually a very generous grant from the Marcus Foundation, Bernie Marcus and the Home Depot folks. So I was kind of the first manager of that program, and I helped build it a little bit. And
take a step back there, Ryan, a second. So you say you went to work for Federation. Was that an obvious choice for you to go into the Jewish nonprofit world? Were you thinking about going and doing something in the for-profit world? How was that? Somebody who was involved but not that involved, during college, and then after college went to work for Jewish organizations. So what was that thought process like?
It was actually really weird because, at Georgia State, all of our business classes, all of our case studies were like Coca-Cola, Chick-fil-A, UPS, because these are, and Delta, because these are all like the big companies in Atlanta. So those were the people that they were working with in the business department. So I always thought that like I don't know, I'd graduate, I'd get a job at like P&G or like UPS, like something definitely for profit. And then I went on my own Birthright trip in 2014 or 2013 maybe, and had like a really great time. I stayed in touch with my Birthright trip leaders, and they recommended me to staff a trip when I was a senior. So I actually staffed my very first Birthright trip before I had even graduated college.
How old were you when you went on the first Birthright trip? On your own trip?
On my own trip, I must have been 20 or 21, maybe 22.
And why did you decide to go on that trip?
Free trip.
Yeah, free trip to Israel. That's how they get you. But yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people in the community, even if you're not super religious or super involved, you hear about Birthright. It's got a great, for better for worse, it does have a good reputation about it. And when you're looking for an adventure in college, you can't really turn your back on a free trip to Israel, a free 10-day experience. And it turned out to be pretty life-changing, and it kind of set me on this trajectory that I didn't think that I'd be on, even though maybe I'm not. Go ahead.
Sorry, Ryan. I was just going to ask you why life-changing. How? Why was it not automatic? Why was it life-changing? You'd been to Israel before for your bar mitzvah. You knew about Israel. It's not something. Why? What was life-changing about it? And
it was life-changing because
why
up until then,
your life.
I think that the core Birthright experience that I had as a participant, it put me on this trajectory to become a Jewish professional. I don't know if I would have found or been qualified for a Birthright professional gig post-college had I not been a participant and had I not followed up and become a staff member. To be honest, I have no idea what I'd be doing right now, but you can kind of trace where I am now directly back to that Birthright trip.
It's pretty amazing.
I think that's what the Birthright people want to hear, Ryan.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I was about to say this is a great ad.
But what was it? In other words, what you still, I mean, I understand that it changed you, and I understand that you can draw a line and all that, but what does that mean? In other words, what happened there? You were sitting there and a light shone on you. Did you say, I want to serve my people in this? What happened? What was it? No,
it's like, this is horribly cliche. I don't even know how best to describe it, but it was like, I'm not one of those people that you go to the Kotel and I did not have this momentous, like life-changing. I was not super emotional and crying. It wasn't necessarily like any one point that I can like look back on and pinpoint. but the experience, like the sense of community, I think was a big part of it. Our bus itself became very close. It's weird to say that in 10 days you can become like best friends with 40 different people, but we did. And I don't know, I kind of float around. I feel like I have this kind of ambassadorial role in a lot of group settings. So I like floated around. I got to know a lot of different people in a lot of different groups that were on the trip, and became friends. And we like hung out once we were back in the States. This was a national trip, so everyone was scattered. There were people from Seattle, Atlanta, Texas, a lot of people from New York, and we all found a way to like come back for this big New Year's reunion the following year. So we kept in touch. And when you pair this crazy sense of community that's built with these really heavy but important discussions that you're having about the Middle East and about Israel's place in the world, and separate. This was also a reform trip, so they weren't really heavy hitting on the religious aspect. It was more secular. It was more tradition based. It was more like lifestyle discussions and that kind of thing. And when you pair this like sense of community and this crazy like adventurous setting with these crazy intense deep conversations for 10 days, there's just like something special that comes from it. And even after working for Birthright and staffing all these trips, it still has this special place in my heart all these years later.
And it changed how you saw your role vis-a-vis the Jewish people.
Absolutely.
Is it safe to say, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that you felt that you were given something with Birthright and that caused you to want to give back in some way?
Yeah, I guess, the shitty millennial in me, when we were, sorry, I don't know if I can say that, but
you just did.
when we were in college, we were just coming out of the recession. And so all of our business professors were like, you've got to jump at any opportunity that comes your way. If you want to get hired, you've got to really put your feet out there and hustle to find a job in this economy. And I was able to find one, and I jumped because it was a great first step in a career, working for Federation and through Birthright. I got to travel a lot, which is great for, a young 20-something. I got to meet new people, and a lot of it was like interfacing with the alumni community. So going to lunches, putting on happy hours, meeting with both donors and participants and alumni. It was a really, really cool first gig.
Ryan, I know you had a very positive experience with Federation. You have a great Federation. I know a lot of people in Atlanta and a lot of people in Jewish Atlanta, and you have a wonderful, really wonderful community. Talk to me about the decision process of coming to Krakow, right? So, I want to talk about your time in Krakow. I want to talk about the ride that you're now directing, and that's a big responsibility. And, we all love the ride, you included. But I want to understand a little bit. I'm always interested in this thought process. So you're sitting there at Federation, you hear about Entwine, this possibility, it sounded interesting, or you were ready to do something else, and then Krakow came, and what did you know about Krakow, and what was that? Just give us like a couple minutes on that process of what it was like from the moment that the decision-making process and how you got to Krakow.
Yeah, sure. So, I don't know, it's really weird looking back on this because I can specifically pinpoint like the conversation where I was introduced to the idea of the fellowship that eventually got me here. But I was driving a colleague of mine, two colleagues actually, back from like a work lunch in Atlanta. And this was after I had left the Birthright gig. I transferred departments at Federation and started fundraising for the business and professionals division. And one of the colleagues had heard about the fellowship through JDC and had applied that year, and it was too late for me to put my application in. But they were like really, really excited. She was telling me all about it. She was, and eventually she got placed. I think she matched with one of the Israeli placements, but then something happened and it fell through for her. But the idea of the fellowship and this kind of like a Jewish Peace Corps situation where like you're going abroad and you're doing really cool communal work, but with this larger Jewish emphasis, it just like really spoke to me, and I've always wanted to live abroad before, going back to America and maybe settling down and that kind of thing. And it was just kind of like the perfect experience because I felt like my career trajectory up to that point was leading me into that direction, and finding like this niche Jewish leadership role that kind of added to what I was already doing. Instead of kind of taking a sidestep, it felt very much like a natural evolution of the work that I was already doing. And the opportunity just felt like a great fit. So I put my name in the hat, I applied. And it was a very, the application process is a pretty long ordeal. I think it's like, for me, all said and done with, it was like maybe 5 or 6 months. So we put our application in like December. First round of interviews are January, February, and then there's this whole placement kind of
What about Krakow?
merry-go-round.
How did Krakow enter? What when you first heard about Krakow, what was that thought process?
Yeah, so I definitely wanted to come to Europe. I wanted to, whatever the placement was, there were a couple I think that were going to be in Europe, and it was really important to me to go there. I felt like I had worked professionally with Israel and in Israel. And there are some other places in the world I could go, but I felt like my skill set was really cut out for working with the Jewish community in Europe. And I had studied abroad in France for a little while, so I kind of understood. Like, sure.
What's the process when they say we like you? Do they say now you get which hemisphere are you interested in? Like how does it work that you kind of zero in on Europe or Israel or whatever?
So they ask you in the early application process, there are a couple of like long form answers, like miniature essays that you write. And one of them like very skillfully asks you to kind of like rank the different areas, or I guess the different like regions that they operate in. So Africa, Asia, Middle East, Europe, I think there have been some South America placements before. And so you're supposed to maybe not rank, but you're supposed to talk about which one you're most interested and maybe which one you're least interested, so that at least they know where not to put you and kind of where your head's at. Europe was my number one. And then I think from there they look at the application and they look at the different placements that are available that year. And they try to see what's going to be a good fit for both the placement, which in this case obviously was JCC Krakow, and then also the applicant, which was me.
How many people apply every year? Do we know that answer?
That's a good question. I'm not sure actually.
Ryan, so Europe is Europe, but I can't imagine that Poland was at the forefront of your mind when you thought about Europe.
Right. No, it was JCC. I mean, it was the placement specifically. It was the work here that was like really exciting for me, because I had this, I had a background in programming, in Jewish programming with the birthright thing. I was helping run educational experiences and obviously the trips to Israel themselves. I also had this fundraising and this development piece where I was helping grant write and applying for grants, and then also working directly with donors and marketing departments and that kind of thing. And the placement here, it was again, it was just like, it was kind of the perfect fit. It was a little bit of interfacing directly with visitors, a lot of bit of interfacing with donors, helping run marketing strategy, grant reports, grant writing, and obviously the community here. It's truly something special, and it's not every day that an opportunity to work in such a special and unique Jewish community is just kind of there, and I really wanted to jump on it. So I think actually in my second or third round of interviews, they give you the placements that they think you're best suited for, and Krakow was at the top of the list. They gave me one in Krakow and one of the Israeli positions, and I looked at both of them and I read the job descriptions and what have you, and I think I turned around and I told JDC, I was like, really, Krakow is the one. And I'll go to Israel if you really want me to go to Israel, and if that's a good fit, then fine, you know better than I do. But like, in my opinion, Krakow is the one.
Krakow is the one, says Ryan. Krakow is the one. Mic drop quote from Ryan Kaplan.
I mean, I assume that part of what went into the decision making was that you heard about a certain rabbinic representative of the chief rabbi of Poland.
Yes.
Okay, no, I'm just.
And despite his noxious presence in Krakow, Ryan decided that it was still a place to visit.
I actually have a life-size cardboard cutout of Rabbi Avi.
Oh.
And yeah, I don't know if you knew this, but it was in Atlanta, and I was the biggest fan. And as soon as I heard that you were here, I was like, I've got to go.
Was it a pillow, like you could, like a beanbag that you could hold and hug?
My life. There are a lot of different places in America where you might just run into a life-size Rabbi Avi.
Post office wall.
And your sister is from Atlanta. We have that in common too. There is a family member in Atlanta.
In fact, my sister was on a call recently, and I don't know what it was about, but someone said, well, my son works in Krakow, and it turns out it was your mother. So small world, because my sister said, my brother does too. So
I wonder if they know each other.
I don't know. It's so interesting.
Ryan, so obviously, you Krakow, I think we all agree that Krakow is a good fit for you. Maybe talk a little bit about that. What do you like? What do you like in Krakow? What do you dislike in Krakow? It's always interesting for us that have been here for a long time to kind of get the opinion of a sort of insider, outsider like you.
What surprised you about it, one way or the other?
Yeah.
What surprised me? I don't know. Okay, so I mean, I've traveled pretty extensively in Europe, but mostly like Western Europe. So I had never been further east than like Prague. I went to Prague in college once. So I had never, I guess Prague is pretty Slavic, but I had never been to a Slavic country for a long time. And I was like, Google searching and Google image searching Krakow and everything. And it looked gorgeous from the initial research. And I got here. And it's just like, in the same way that I would say Atlanta is this oasis of progressive and like kind of more liberal thinking in the South, Krakow kind of fills that role in Poland too. We are a little bit in the South, and Krakow, like keep Krakow weird. It kind of works with just how they, the same way that they say keep Austin weird. It has its own culture. It has its own style within like the larger Slavic structure, and it's visually gorgeous, like compared to Warsaw, which was raised during the war and rebuilt with modern architecture and that kind of thing. But Krakow, it's you walk around and it's almost like you're back in like these mystical medieval times. And in the winter time, everyone complains about the fog, and I don't know, I think it kind of lends this air of mysticism, and it's like a very cool city to be in and to live in. And then it's got this like extensive history of Judaism and of Jewish culture, and where we live and where we work in Kazimierz, it's everywhere. It's not like a JCC in Atlanta where you or in the States where you're just kind of in the city and you coexist with the city, but the JCC in Krakow, it's like it's a part of the Jewish quarter. So you walk outside and every building has some sort of connected history to Jewish roots. And it's very cool and it's very special.
Ryan, what about work? What has been interesting for you from a work? Because I'm going to sort of get to this and then talk about what you're doing now. But leading up to this, you've been involved in marketing and social media and development and all different areas that you can explain better than I can. I know it's a little odd for your boss to ask you about the job. You're going to be like, oh, it's the worst. I hate it. Don't think of me as your boss. Think of me as your friendly AMA host that happens to be your boss.
Friendly neighborhood Jonathan. I think the coolest part of the job is just like the kind of people that pass through Krakow and pass through the JCC. I don't know if I would have been able to meet Speaker Pelosi had I stayed in Atlanta. I don't know if I would have been able to be in a room for a meeting with the president of Ireland. I think Michael Higgins.
It was fun.
It's just like the people are so fascinated with the work that we do and with the community here. And from like a selfish, cool life experience kind of point of view, it's just, there's always something cool happening, pandemic notwithstanding, but there are always like cool people that are coming, cool things happening. The day-to-day it really changes all the time. We have a very lean and fast-moving organization. So when we need to get stuff done, we get it done. There's very little fluff. There's very little, downtime. Something is always happening. And it's just like it's a great pace, I think, for me.
It's pretty good.
Very little downtime. That was a good thing to say. Be like, oh, we're all sitting around, screwing around all the time. And good to say. And do you find that the skills that you brought to the job, or marketing and what you did, both your degree and then working at Federation, are sort of useful? Like for us, when I chose you to come, or they showed me, there were different options, and to me, it jumped out. Your life experience and education for me were like a no-brainer. That actually we had somebody not only that would be, that I thought would be good at the job, but actually had trained, and his experience up until that point was sort of leading toward that. So have you been able to put your degree and your experience at Federation into practice here?
Yeah, I think I have, actually, and something that I've really enjoyed. I think I was not writing very much. I was, at Federation, we worked with the marketing department, and they would kind of come up with our copy based on, some bullet points and general direction. Like if we had an event or we had some sort of newsletter we wanted to push, we gave them the direction and they wrote it and pushed it out. And here I'm really involved in a lot of the writing, which I think has been very fulfilling for me personally, and helping write the newsletter and also the grant reports and the more back of house, bureaucratic stuff. But it's a skill set that I don't know if it comes naturally to me, or as naturally to me, but I think that my writing has improved, and that's pretty cool. And I think it was just really, it was truly a perfect match. It was like a match made in heaven. When we were going through the matching process, I saw the other job descriptions of some of the other placements, even the ones that were not offered to me. And I think out of all of the options, there was not another one that really would have been a step forward in my career. If I had picked another one, I certainly would have gone and I would have given it my all, but I don't know if I would have stayed somewhere else for 3 years. I don't know if it would have been such a step forward in my career versus kind of a step sideways, or kind of like a leap year, or a gap year, not a leap year, a gap year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just, I don't know how much more I can.
Hey Ryan, I'd say the idea of the Jewish Community Center and what's going on, and the allure that brings you here. But I'm guessing, because I've had the same experience, it's the people that you're working with that keep you here.
Yeah, it's true. We're like, the staff here is very, very close. I feel very close with the development team. I think who are probably watching in the basement right now, in the dungeon, as we call it. But it's a really cool working culture. I honestly, I don't know if I would have stayed as long had I not had such a close connection with the people, both in the community. Although I don't necessarily interface so much with the community as much, just by because of the nature of the work. And unfortunately, my Polish teacher would kill me for saying this, but I'm probably not the best Polish student. I don't speak very, very easily or very well.
Trust me, Ryan, he's had worse students than you.
Not pointing any fingers, but yeah. So I think that it's very fulfilling to work on a team that I feel close personally with, and I hate it when someone says that, like, oh, we're a family. It seems very cliche, but I also don't know how else to describe it. So I'm not going to say it, but I'm not going to not say it either.
Ryan, well, I think that it's clear that you fit in here, and a lot of it is working here is not only the professional aspect, but the culture, and that was something that right away, and to stay, I have so much admiration and respect for you that, because of, we weren't supposed to be here for 3 years, and it's sort of stretched out. And we wanted, I thought, we've discussed this a lot, that wanted you to have the real full Krakow experience and JCC experience, which I think you haven't really had, just because of the timing of how long you've been here. So hopefully things will be picking up, and that sort of leads us to where we are now, that we've decided to change things a little bit, and you got, I would say, promoted without a question, and are now running Ride for the Living. So maybe before we talk about this year's ride, which I want to do in a second, but maybe just, was that something, what was that something surprising for you? Did it seem like something you'd be able to do? Was it something scary or shocking or natural, or it seemed like a good challenge, or how did you see that?
Yeah, I think the only answer I can say is yes. To all of the above. Yeah, I mean, part of my responsibilities before kind of inheriting the director of the ride position, but I was working really closely with the ride team, which previously was Gish and our colleague Anya, who do great work. And I was helping, most of what we do is during the year is market to the overseas crowd who are coming. So I was really, really closely involved in, helping get people here, helping get them signed up, pushing out, newsletters and the draft itineraries and that kind of thing, for the regular ride. And then obviously COVID happened. So we kind of did a 180 and shifted gears into the global challenge and the virtual ride the first year, which was a remarkable project on its own, and so successful. And it was just like such a great personal and professional win, I think, for the team, despite all of this craziness and all of the horrible COVID stuff. It was just so great to see something new and beautiful kind of grow out of that. So when the opportunity came to kind of jump into the in-person ride this year and kind of take it over and lead it, I couldn't say no. It's a great opportunity personally. It's a great opportunity professionally, and I'm really, really, really excited to get people here next summer and take them on this ride.
So talk a little bit, Ryan, about this year's ride. What is it going to look like? What are the dates? Where are we in terms of the ride? This is a reveal. Yeah.
So this is the date. Are we saying the date?
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Ryan, I'm not the Ride for the Living director. That's you.
All right, you heard it here first, folks. 2022 Ride for the Living, June 30th to July 3rd. Thursday, June 30th to Sunday, July 3rd, 2022. We are hard at work. I mean, it's time. We are, Poland kind of shuts down in August and everyone goes on vacation, and then we hit the ground running in September, October, November, to try to get things back on track and up and running. So we are moving forward with those dates for the in-person ride in Krakow. Of course, we're bringing back the Global Challenge this year, and that'll precede the actual in-person ride. It'll be taking place all throughout June, just like last year. So people who are coming to Krakow can use the Global Challenge to train and to prep and to get ready. People who are not able to make it to Krakow this year are still able to participate for 4 weeks in a Ride for the Living experience. And we're so excited to kind of bring those two to life simultaneously. We expect that registration this year will open early 2022, so probably early January. And until then, we're just building itinerary. We are working with vendors, and we're getting stuff off the ground, and we are very excited.
Very exciting, Ryan. Is it safe to say that the ride this year in person is going to look like generally as it's looked in the past?
I think so. Yeah, I think if people are coming, then we will have a solid, normal ride experience for them. Some things change year to year. We're playing with things. We're playing with itineraries a little bit, but the people who have been here before can expect a normal in-person ride experience with no corners cut, and with all of the grace and love that they've come to expect from us.
The grace and love.
Beautiful.
Ryan Kaplan, you're wearing your poet's hat today. I like it. With all the grace and love they've come to expect. Very beautiful, Ryan.
Ryan, were you on the ride? Because it's been 2 years since it's. Were you on the ride 3 years ago?
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I have never participated in the Ride for the Living. I've walked it though. I've walked. Jonathan and Kasha and I walked this summer or this past January.
Much love, Ryan.
So yeah, I have certainly, I've been on the course and I've been through everything and taking over from Gish, whose shoes are it's gonna be very hard to fill her shoes. Although she's still, don't worry, she's still at the JCC, which is great.
You should also, as a participant, didn't do the ride.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
There's a strong tradition, Ryan, of the Ride for the Living director not having been a participant.
That's true. But I don't feel like like anything is lost just because I haven't been a participant before.
Ryan, are you walking? You mentioned the walk. Are you planning on walking January 27th again this year from Auschwitz to Krakow?
You know, we've talked about it. I'm not opposed. We had a great time. So I'm not opposed. It's going to take some logistical work, but I would do it again. I would do it again.
We had a great time. Did we?
Yeah, my heart and my mind say that. I think my toenails are still recovering.
I have to say I'm not saying it was like the worst thing ever or that, insane. It wasn't really that bad, but that was one of the more difficult things physically I've done in a while.
Yeah. And it was very, very snowy. I don't know if we were expecting it to be so snowy. And that was the second winter that I spent in Krakow. I was here for the winter before, and we did not have nearly as much snow in 2019, 2020 as we did 2020, 2021. So I guess we'll see what's happening this year, but I would totally do it again.
I tell you what, I distance gives you a certain perspective, and you forget, when you forget all the difficulties and the bad parts, right? It was great. It's funny, certain things I don't remember so well, like parts of it, like the whole AMA and talking to Marcel as we're climbing through the snow is somewhat surreal. Like, it feels like I dreamt it. Like it was pretty intense toward the end. Your body really starts, people are doing a lot more difficult things than that, obviously, but those people are probably training and constantly building up to that. So just to sort of like, oh, let's go walk 50 miles.
That's true, but in our defense, both of us were in the office the following day.
No question. We were
both of us were not, neither of us were out of commission. We came in. I think we stretched a little bit, but we were here.
Damn right we were, Ryan Kaplan. Damn right we were.
I'd like to say I will not be joining you this year like I did not join you last year. I will be rooting for you though, but that is not.
Avi, no offense. I don't think that we were planning on inviting you for that.
I assumed there was an open invitation for all things.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
No, there's a certain
Rabbi. It would be an honor.
There you go. Thank you, Ryan. We could have great philosophical discussions on the walk. I would think it would be very nice.
I think, Avi, you on that walk would be slightly less philosophical than usual.
I'd be Jobian. I'd be cursing the day I was born.
You would be Jobian indeed. Indeed. Ryan Kaplan, anything else about Ride for the Living that we need to know? Do we need to be prepared for? You said registration is going to open in January. Are groups? What about groups coming? Individuals? Everybody is just whoever wants to go.
Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. We're already working with some groups, which is exciting. More details on that kind of incoming. But if you'd like to bring a group, please let us know so that we can maybe work on it with you. If you want to come as an individual, we'll have some more information about pricing and fundraising and that kind of thing a little bit later this year once everything is settled. And obviously before registration opens in 2022, we'll have pricing, availability, and we'll kind of have a general idea of what the itinerary looks like so that people can kind of, parse out their plans for the summer. And I would say if you're interested in coming, just kind of stay in the loop. Obviously, go to our website, ridefortheliving.org. Right there on the homepage, there's a big green button where you can sign up for updates. You can become a part of the newsletter list. And as long as you do that, you'll be the first to know as soon as we have some news.
Ryan Kaplan, I have to say that there are few things in life that I'm prouder of than Ride for the Living and what it stands for and what we've been able to accomplish and what I hope it will eventually mean for our community and for the Jewish people. And it couldn't be in better hands.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I'm really pumped. I'm very excited.
Ryan, now that we've dispensed with those things, let's get to the real important part of the interview. One, Team Latko or Team Hamantash?
Latka all the way. All the way.
Good
Not
man.
even a question. I don't have to think about it.
Of course.
And Ryan Kaplan, your 3 favorite films.
All right. I did not know that this was coming. I hadn't prepared anything. This is so tough. This is so tough. I feel like we've got to break it down by genre sometime. But
Ryan
like
Kaplan,
if I had
your 3 favorite films.
All right, you're gonna laugh. My favorite movie of all time is called Pacific Rim. It's just a very
With The Rock?
great action flick. No, not with The Rock, but it's about like
Machines.
giant robots and
Is it
giant
those
monsters.
Those monsters?
There's something that in that movie that like speaks to the kid in me, and I can watch it on repeat for days on end. And it's just like, it's great. So I say Pacific Rim is up there.
1 second. You know what, Ryan? That answer only makes me all the more curious for the next 2.
I think my favorite, like I have to mention Star Wars. I don't know if it's my top 3, but it's like Star Wars and the franchise has certainly had an impact on me and my dad and my brother too. I think my favorite Jonathan answer to this question would be Dr. Strangelove is definitely one of my favorites. I know you're a Kubrick aficionado.
Is Jonathan answering me?
So Dr. Strangelove is one of my favorite movies. Airplanes, Spaceballs, The Lion King.
You cannot stop.
We can keep going. We can keep going.
Pacific Rim, Jonathan.
You came in hot with Pacific Rim, though, Ryan.
I wanted to pick maybe one that nobody else had said in our 71 AMAs. So
No. And I'm gonna say for the next, and we'll make a note of this, for the next 71 AMAs, I'm gonna guess that nobody else comes in with Pacific Rim. But I do want to see it. I feel like I've only seen there's not like a video that was like this. There was, what was the song? There was the version of that I feel like I've seen the trailer and it was a guy in a helicopter. Is that the trailer? I'll have to look it up anyway.
Maybe. I mean, like, disclaimer, it's not a good movie. It's not like
no, Ryan.
This is not something that's winning any Academy Awards, but it's just something that like it speaks to the kid in me, and it just like gives me a big goofy ass smile.
Don't you explain, bad boy Ryan Kaplan. Pacific Rim is you know what? If Pacific Rim, and you guys will excuse my language, if Pacific Rim is your favorite film, then it's the best fucking film of all time, Ryan Kaplan.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ryan Kaplan.
Great.
Rabbi Avi. Next week, special episode next week. I don't want to give it all away, but it will be an episode devoted to, next week, I should say, is my 20-year anniversary in Poland.
Whoa.
I came to Poland October 15th, 2001, right after 9/11. And I've been here ever since, minus a few trips here and there to Greece. And we will discuss that next week. My reflections on my 20 years in Poland. And in honor of Ryan Kaplan, I might do a special list of worst movies I've seen in those. Thank you, everybody. Be safe, be well. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Ali.
Bye. Thanks, everybody. See you next year.